Hey YouTube, this is SexyDreamPirate coming to you. It is November 11th, 2 days before Evo Fury comes out. Really pumped. Uh, when Evo Fury comes out, there's quite a few interesting looking cards that are going to be geared towards monochrome decks, Dracon Warchief, Scavenging Chimera, stuff like that. So I'm predicting maybe not a lot more, but I am thinking we're going to start seeing some more monochrome decks. So before YouTube gets flooded with those deck profiles, I figured I would show you guys my monochrome darkness deck. This is the deck that I put together, right after Rise came out. I put it together. I've been running it ever since. I always liked the Darkness Civ. I was an old DM player. I always ran Mono Darkness. It's what I do. Some people may think that multi-civ is the way to go. That's, they can have their opinion, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my Mono Darkness control deck. So starting off, cost 1 creatures. I run 2 Marrow Ooze. Good turn 1 drop, stops Blaze Belcher, stops Magris, and can actually stay in whenever Magris swings. So, just good turn 1. Plus, it's not too bad late game just to chump block something. Alright, 2 cost. Brain Squirmer, 2 for 2, Darkness Civ. Darkness isn't really known for power, so 2 for 2 is as good as you're going to get. I run 3 Brain Squirmers, by the way. Alright, my other 2 cost creature, I run 3 copies. Skeeter Swarmer, 2 for 4,000 blocker. He pops whenever he wins a battle, so he can only block 1 attack, but 2 for 4, it can pretty much trade with anything that most people can get out, turn 2, turn 3. So good card overall. Moving on to my 3 cost cards. For old DM players, it's the Horrid Worm effect from Evo Crush. I hate the card art. I hated it in old DM. I still hate it now, but I run 3 copies. Gigastand. 3 for 2. Whenever this creature attacks, your opponent chooses and discards a card. Pretty solid discard. I mean, he can't really trade with a whole bunch of stuff. He can't really swing with a whole bunch, or swing over a whole bunch of things, but they're getting rid of a card whether he wins or whether he breaks a shield, dies, or whatever. They're discarding a card, so it doesn't hurt. Another turn 3 with 3 cost, Skull Cutter, 3 copies, 3 for 1,000, Slayer. I really like this card. 3 for 1,000, the standard 2 cost for the Slayer mechanic, so I'm used to it. It doesn't really bug me. It's good early game if I want to play kind of rushy, or if there's a blocker in my way. It's good late game. There's no better feeling than using a 3 cost creature to get rid of, Earth Stomp Giant or something just big and obnoxious. So, really like Skull Cutter. I run 3 of those. My next 3 cost creature, run 2 copies. Gorgeon, Shadow of Gluttony. 3 for 5,000. Whenever this creature wins a battle, banish it. From the reviews that I've seen and what I've seen at League, there's not a lot of people that run this card. There's not a lot of people that even like this card. But the main reason I run him is basically so I can swing over big blockers, get that stuff out of my way. He's one of those cards that just gives me another option, really. It's something that I could phase out of my deck and it probably wouldn't hurt me too much. But if I come up against a water deck or a light deck, something control with big blockers, it's really nice to be able to get those out of the way. So I do run 2 Gorgeon. Now moving on to my 3 cost blockers. Myself, SexyDreamPirate, run 3 copies. 3 for 3,000, which is practically unheard of in the Darkness Civ. And then on top of that, he's a blocker and has Ghostly. When this creature attacks, banish it at the end of the attack. I really like this card. Probably some people who don't, that's okay. They can have their preference. He's a good solid blocker. He doesn't pop whenever he wins, so that's nice. And then another plus, you know, say it's late game, my opponent's got no shields, and all I have on my field is blockers. Well, I can still swing for game with DreamPirate, so that's nice. Now my last turn 3 blocker, Scaradorable of Gloom Hollow. 3 for 2. Blocker, fear back, or no, adorable gaze, my bad. But you know, I'm pretty sure everybody is like, yeah, I know that card. To be honest, it's a recent addition to my deck. I wasn't really thrilled with putting it in. I didn't want to be, you know, a wagon jumper. I didn't want to be somebody who runs something just because everybody else does. But I'm really liking it. It's a really good card. I don't know. I didn't want to follow everybody else's lead on this, but you just have to. It's so good. It's so good. Early game, late game, it's really good. Alright, moving on to 4 cost. Grave Scrounger, 2 copies. 4 for 2. The main reason I have him in here is so I can get back my Rupture Spiders, get back my Skeeter Swarmers, even Gigastand sometimes, Skull Cutter, get back my cheap stuff that my opponent hates dealing with, like the cheap blockers and Slayers. That's why I've got him in. Another 4 cost, Fumes. 4 for 2. When he goes in, your opponent chooses and discards. Basically, think of it as Brain Squirmer plus Specter Claw, all in one. Good card, really like it, especially since it comes in on turn 4, which is if you're playing against a rush deck or, you know, something like that. Turn 4 is normally when you start seeing your opponent run out of cards in their hand, and the only thing in their hand is Gilaflame, and it keeps jumping back in it to hide. So Fumes, I've used him several times to get rid of Gilaflame. It's really nice. Alright, my last 4 cost attacker is Bad Breath Scaradorable from the Dojo Edition. 4 for 4,000, pretty much unheard of in the Darkness Civ. And he also has Fear Bats. This creature can't be attacked or blocked by creatures that are level 5 or less. You know, there's probably a couple people who don't like this card, but, you know, whatever. I like it. I like it a lot. It's really good for bypassing blockers to get rid of like their little annoying attackers that are breaking your shields. If you're using him to bypass blockers and, you know, chip away at the shields one shield at a time, yeah, you're probably not gonna like it. It just all comes down to how you use the card, you know. But anyways, moving on. My last 4 cost cards, run 2 copies. Rupture Spider, 4 for 6,000, pops whenever it wins a battle. It's basically a big Skeeter Swarmer. The only reason I have him in here is so I can also deal with Gilaflame. I use him to stop Stampeding Longhorn, any of those creatures that can't be attacked by anything that has less power than it. Yeah, Rupture Spider, that's where he comes in. Some people probably don't like him. Some people will say just run Skeeter Swarmer, but Skeeter Swarmer isn't big enough for some stuff. I don't want to block. I don't want to chump block everything. I want to block something and kill it. That's why I run the cheap big blockers. Alright, moving on to 5 cost. Acid Tongue Chimera used to be known as Gigagili for all of you old DM players. 5 for 3,000 Slayer. Probably a lot of people who don't like this card. You know, I've seen a lot of profiles. Everybody just runs the Skull Cutters and they think that's enough Slayers. If you're running a multi-civ and you've got some fire and nature, maybe even light in there so you can swing big, you know, good for you. You don't need that many Slayers. But since I'm mono darkness, more Slayers is good, and not only that, but it's really nice to have a Slayer that's going to be in for more than one turn. You know, I can swing over Razorhide, I can swing over Aqua Seneschal, I can get their annoying stuff out of the way and still have a Slayer for whenever they decide to drop Tatsurian or, you know, Earth Stomp, something like that. That's why I've got him. Alright, moving on to my finishers. 6 cost, Zagaan the Bone Knight, 6 for 7,000, Double Breaker Vanilla. Good solid card. I've only ever really needed one, so Works for me. Dark Scaradorable, 6 for 6, double breaker. When he goes in, he breaks a shield. Interesting effect. Hadn't really seen, you know, I wasn't expecting to see a mechanic such as this early in the game. You know, I was a little bit surprised whenever it came out, but I'm really liking it. There seems to be a lot of other people that are liking it. It's definitely proved its worth time and time again. You know, whenever the game is almost ground to a standstill and you can just swarm him. He's got enough blockers, but you're one shield short a game. Yeah, Dark Scaradorable comes in really handy in situations like that. Alright, my 7 cost finishers. I run 2 of these. Trox, General Destruction, 7 for 6, Double Breaker, Cleaving Axe. Whenever he wins a battle, I can choose another level 4 creature and banish it. I really like it. I really like the effect. It's proved its worth time and time again. I swing, they block, I get rid of another blocker. I swing, they block, I get rid of their annoying attacker that I can't block right now. Just overall, it works really well for me. It's proved itself time and time again in my deck, and I really like it. So those are my 4 finishers. That's all I run. 2 Trox, 1 Scaradorable, and 1 Zagaan. I don't run Gigastand. 8 for 9 is too much, especially since I normally sit around 7 mana and that's all I get. I might get 8, but normally 7 that's as high as I need to go. I don't run Deathlighter. Probably quite a few people are surprised. I don't have one. Call me broke, whatever, but I've had some really bad luck pulling out of these Rise packs. 2 booster boxes, no Deathlighter. 3 Earth Stomps, no Deathlighter. Really sucks. If I had one, I'd probably be getting mad. Alright, moving on to my spells. 2 Specter Claw. 2 Shield Blast, your opponent chooses and discards a card. Good solid, you can drop it in at turn 2 if you don't have any critters and not, you know, be like, oh, I'm going to lose the game. It's a good shield break too. I really like it. Good solid discard. Cheap Darkness Destruction. Bone Blades, run 3 copies. Basically, get rid of a level 4 creature or less, or a creature that is level 4 or less. I have a lot of luck with hitting these, or with getting these as shields, so, you know, works out for me really well. Now, 2 Death Smoke, turn 5. 5, basically banish untapped creature. There's a lot of people who are probably, especially Darkness fans, who are squirming in their seats, you know, why don't you just run Razorkinder? I haven't really seen a need to yet. The only reason that I have Death Smoke in is so I can get rid of the blockers. Yeah, Razorkinder can do that too, and it's got a body, but it does cost 2 more, and, you know, if I've got 7 mana, I can still use Terror Pit or something else. Or Trox, which is, I'd rather have Trox in than have Razorkinder in. Alright, anyways, the last 2 cards in my deck. 7 costs, Terror Pit, gets rid of anything, no fuss. Good solid Darkness Destruction card. I mean, you gotta love it. This seems to end up in my shield zones quite a lot. Frustrates quite a few people. I don't run 3. I haven't really seen a need to change that. With Evo Fury coming out, I probably will change that due to, you know, the big Evo Fury tats. You know, a couple other cards that look to be a real threat late game. But anyways, that is my monochrome darkness deck. 44 cards total. I'll be trying to put some new videos on, maybe some duels, booster box openings, stuff like that. But you know, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Until next time, may all your shields be triggers, guys. Keep playing.